If your income swings wildly from one month to the next, if some months you're pulling in 18k and feeling like you have cracked it, and the next month you are scraping 7k and panicking, and you have just started accepting that as the reality of being a creator, I'm going to tell you something in this video that almost nobody in this industry is willing to say out loud. Volatile income is not bad luck. It is not the industry being unpredictable. It is a structural problem with a specific fixable cause, and by the end of the next 15 minutes, you're going to know exactly what is causing it on your page, exactly what should be running in the background that is not, and exactly why predictable income is more valuable than your biggest ever month. Quick bit about me. I run Prestige Partners. We've managed over 100 creators doing for anywhere from 5 to 250k a month. And honestly, volatile income is probably the most common problem I hear about on creator calls. More common than traffic, more common than chat quality, and more common than anything else. Because it affects everything. Not just your numbers, but your life as well. This video is for you if you have stopped being able to plan because you do not know what next month is going to look like. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why your income is swinging, what the actual fix is, and why the way you have been thinking about your good months is the entire reason you are stuck on a roller coaster that you cannot get off of. And to make all this concrete, I'm going to give you one analogy that will change how you see your big months forever. It is the cleanest way I have ever heard this problem explained. And once you hear it, your big months will start looking very, very different. I will get into it in just a minute. So what volatile income actually does to a creator? Let me describe what volatile income actually feels like, because I think this is the bit that does not get talked about enough. Everyone focuses on the numbers, but nobody talks about what it is actually like to live with income that swings by 10k between months. It is exhausting. Not physically exhausting, emotionally exhausting, because what happens is you have a big month. Let's say you pull in 18k and you feel amazing. You feel like you've cracked it. You start thinking about what you can do with that money. Maybe you're looking at a holiday. Maybe you're thinking about moving into a nicer place. Maybe you're just feeling good about yourself for the first time in a while. And then the next month comes and it's 7k. And suddenly the holiday's off. The nicer place is off, and the feeling good about yourself is replaced by this sick anxiety in your stomach going, what happened? What did I do wrong? Is this the beginning of the end? And the worst part is you do not know. You genuinely do not know if it's just a blip or it's a trend. Now, you do not know if next month is going to bounce back or drop further. So you spend the whole month stressed, second guessing everything, posting more frantically, and trying random stuff to see if anything sticks, and basically making decisions from a place of panic instead of strategy. And then let us say the month after, you bounce back to 14k. Great, right? Except now you're scared to enjoy it because you know the dip could come again at any time. So even the good months do not feel good anymore because you're just waiting for the floor to drop out of it. That is what volatile income actually does to a creator. It is not a numbers problem, it is a trust problem. You cannot trust your own business, you cannot plan anything, and you cannot relax. You cannot enjoy the wins because you are bracing for the losses. And over time, that wears you down in a way that is different from burnout, but just as destructive. Now, burnout is about workload and volatility is about uncertainty. And uncertainty is genuinely one of the most stressful things a human being can experience. We are wired to want predictability. When we cannot get it, our brains go into threat mode. And threat mode is not a productive place to run a business from. So why is your income swinging like this? The answer is simpler than most creators expect, but it's also harder to hear. Your income is volatile because nothing is running in the background. That is the whole answer. So in a good month, something happens. A reel might go viral, or you do a promo that lands, or a whale comes through and drops a load of money, or you happen to film something that converts really, really well. And that one thing masks everything else. It covers up all the gaps and it makes a month look great, even though the fundamentals have not changed at all. Then, the next month, that one thing does not happen. No viral reel, no random whale, no lucky promo. And suddenly all the gaps are visible. The income drops and you're left staring at the real number, the number your page actually produces when nothing special happens to save it. And here's the analogy I promised you, and I will show you a diagram to explain it clearly. So you need to stop chasing spikes and build a floor. So right now, this is you without a baseline, right? You have inconsistent floors. Sometimes it's down here, sometimes it's up here, here. So this is the roller coaster essentially. So one big month, one terrifying month, and essentially you repeat this forever. Versus higher lows every single time. So this is with a baseline. So each month, yeah, okay, sometimes it might be less than your previous high, but it's never lower than your lowest low. So you're constantly on this upwards trajectory. So you're not necessarily having a bigger peak, you're just looking to get a higher floor. So floor one here is 10K, floor two is 14K, Floor 3 is 18k. And they'd much rather have that than go from 10k to 18k to 5k to 15k to 6k to 20k to 4k, you know, that is just unsustainable. And it comes with the problems that I mentioned previously. So if you pull up your OnlyFans chart right now and it looks like this, keep listening, because what we want to do is get your account to this stage here. So the analogy, imagine you're running in a shop on a high street. Some months a coach full of tourists pulls up outside your shop. They all pile in, they spend a load of money, and you have a great month. But the coach is not yours. You do not control when it comes. You do not control if it comes. Some months it shows up, some months it does not. Now on the months when the coach does not come, you are left with just the regular foot traffic, and the regular foot traffic is not enough to pay the bills because you've never actually invested in getting your own consistent customers through the door. That is exactly what is happening with your page right now. The quiet months are the reality, and the reality is the bit that needs fixing. You've been celebrating the coach showing up and panicking when it does not, when the actual problem is that you have never built a real customer base of your own. What is supposed to be running in the background? What are the things that, if they were in place, would smooth out the peaks and valleys and give you a baseline you could count on? There are 4. Retention, which is how many of your fans stay subscribed instead of leaking out the back door every month. Reactivation, which is how many of your expired fans you bring back through targeted win-back campaigns. PPV strategy, which is whether your messages are structured into proper sequences with proper pricing and proper targeting based on individual fan spending, or just blasted out at random. And subscription pricing strategy, which is whether your subs and discounts are actively managed or set and forgotten months ago. When all 4 of these are running properly in the background every single week without fail, your income produces a floor. And the floor does not depend on a viral reel. It does not depend on a lucky whale. It simply just produces consistently because the fundamentals are working. Now, when none of those 4 are running, your income lives entirely at the mercy of whatever luck the month brings you. Now, most creator pages have 0 of the 4 running properly, so they live on this roller coaster. Now, here is the part I really want you to hold on to for the next 2 minutes. There is one reframe about how to think about your big months that once you hear it, you'll not be able to unhear it. It is actually the most important reframe in this entire video, and it is going to change what you are even trying to optimize for. I will get to it at the end, because the next bit is what's going to make it land properly. Big months are not the goal. Predictable months are. Here is the reframe, right? In a good month, 1 or more of those background levers accidentally gets pulled by luck. A reel goes viral and you get a rush of new fans, so the traffic covers up the retention problem. Or a whale comes through and drops 5k, so the revenue covers up the fact that your PPV strategy is actually non-existent. Or you run a promo that happens to convert. In a quiet month, none of those lucky things happen. No viral reel, no random whale, no fortunate promo. And suddenly, you are looking at the naked truth of your business, which is that nothing is running in the background to produce consistent income. The quiet month is not the anomaly. The big month was the anomaly. And until you accept that, you'll keep chasing big months instead of building predictable ones. That reframe right there is the most important thing in this whole video. And I want you to actually sit with it for a second, because it changes everything. Big months are not the goal. Predictable months are. Because big months teach you nothing. You cannot replicate them. You do not know what caused them. You just know it happened and you want it to happen again. But predictable months, even if they are smaller than your best ever month, give you something a big month never can. They give you a baseline, a floor, a number you know you can count on, so that when a big month does happen, it is upside on top of something stable, instead of a spike followed by a crash. Predictability is what allows you to actually build a life around this income. Buy the flat, book the holiday, make the plans, sleep at night, and stop panicking every time the numbers dip. That is what you actually want. Not a bigger peak, a higher floor. And here is what changes when you start thinking about it that way. A 12k month with a stable floor is more valuable than an 18k month followed by a 7k month, even though the maths is roughly the same, because the 12k is something you can plan around. The 18 then 7 is 2 months of emotional whiplash that costs you sleep, decision making, and energy in which you could have spent growing the business. The total revenue is similar. The quality of your life is completely different. Now, most creators spend years chasing the bigger peak when simply they should have been building the higher floor. The peak is exciting, yes, but the floor is what's going to change your life. So here's what I want you to do this week. Pull your last 6 months of earnings and write them down month by month. Then look at the gap between your highest month and your lowest month. If that gap is more than 40 or 50%, you have a volatility problem. And the size of that gap is the size of your missing background infrastructure. Then, look Look at your big months and be brutally honest. Can you point to one specific thing that drove the number? A viral reel, a whale, a promo? If you can, that tells you the big month was an event, not a baseline. And your real baseline is closer to your quiet months than your big ones. Now, that is uncomfortable, but it is the truth. And you cannot fix what you will not name. Then check your retention rate. Just pull it up and look at it. Most creators have never even seen this number. It is the percentage of your fans who keep their renew on. If it is below 50%, you have a leak the size of the Atlantic. And no amount of new traffic is going to fill the bucket faster than it is draining. That single number, fixed, will do more for your income stability than any new content strategy ever will. And the next time you have a quiet month, do not panic. Do not throw stuff at the wall. Do not start posting 10 reels a day and running desperate promos. Treat the quiet month as a diagnostic. Ask yourself, what specifically did not happen this month that happened last month? Was it less traffic? Was it lower retention? Was it no whale coming through? And once you can name the specific thing that is missing, you can then fix the specific thing. Quiet months are not random, they are showing you exactly where the gaps are in your business. The question is whether you're reading them properly or just reacting emotionally. Look, my life's not going to change whether you book a call with my team or not, but yours could. If you are tired of the roller coaster and you want to talk to someone who can help you build a real floor under your income instead of just chasing the next big month, the link to book a call is in the description. Absolutely no pressure at all, just a real conversation about what is going on with your numbers and what we would actually do to stabilize them. That is it. Now, I hope you drew some value from this video and it provided some clarity as to what's going on with your account. If it did, drop a like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next one.